Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Side Hustle Review podcast. Today, I'm going to be diving deep into the vending machine side hustle because if you've ever started researching side hustles, chances are you've seen vending machines pitched to you as this easy passive income side hustle with low maintenance. So today, I will cover how vending machines make money, how much will it cost to start, the best locations for success, common mistakes and how to avoid them, and whether it is truly passive income or something that you should aspire to do. Now, as always, I do want to remind you that this is going to be the most unedited, the rawest podcast you'll probably ever listen to because I am squeezing this in between a full-time job, dad duties, and my own side hustles. So every like, comment, share, all those things really do help me because I am just doing this in my free time to hopefully help you guys as I'm researching and doing my due diligence on these side hustles as well. So appreciate you guys and appreciate you guys listening as always. So let's start with the basics, which is how does a vending machine business actually work? At its core, this side hustle is relatively simple. You buy or lease a vending machine. You place them in a high traffic location. People often talk about offices, schools, gyms, apartment complexes. We'll get into locations in a little bit. And you fill them with snacks, drinks, or other products. Some people do beauty products or tech products. Depending on that location, you can vary the products for sure. And then you profit from every sale, minus your costs of stocking, right? Minus the cost of maintaining, and sometimes minus the cost of rent or a fee to have your vending machine in that location. The big appeal is it's supposed to be a passive thing, something that's very low maintenance or something that you can set and forget. But is it really? Well, I'll get into that later. Now, if you were starting to research vending machine side hustles, you will come across a guru that's willing to teach you. And oftentimes, before you buy their program, they are usually underestimating the startup cost. They'll oftentimes show you like cheap vending machines on a Facebook marketplace or on eBay, not really disclosing that that $800 machine, even if it's in great condition, is a cash only machine and it's going to get 60% less sales if you had a credit card hooked up to it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't adapt a credit card machine to them. Some of you can, but some of them are so old that they can't even take the credit card reader. So you do need to understand what you're getting into. And one critical point is you should not get a vending machine that is cash only. It's rare that people carry cash around, at least in the US. So keep that in mind. But let's talk about money and the startup cost of how you get this thing going and where people go wrong. So here's what you'll need to budget for if you were to start a vending machine business from scratch. First, you have to buy the vending machine itself, and sure, used machines are a thing. You can buy one between $1,000 and $3,000. A new machine can be $3,500 to $7,000. And then if you get into the smart vending machines with touch screens and they sell cupcakes and stuff like that, you can get up to $5,000 plus for a vending machine. So one, you have to figure out your budget for the actual machine. Second, you got to figure out your merchandise. So drinks, snacks, whatever it is you're going to put in there, you need to factor in around $300 to $1,000 for your first set of inventory per machine upfront, because you're not going to just put an empty machine in a location. You're going to have to fill it. Now, third thing is your location fees or commission. Now, a lot of gurus will tell you never get a vending machine location when they have a commission or fee, but that really narrows your possibilities down. And typically an owner will want to have some type of cut if they're going to put a vending machine in their lobby or something. So some locations do charge rent. Basically, you just pay them $100 a month to put your vending machine, while others do a profit split. They might want to take 10, 15, 20% of sales. Now, I would say your preference is to do rent. You really don't want some other owner in your books or seeing how much you're making and then reaping from there. So you're always going to want to go with rent, I would say. That's not to say the commission isn't an absolute no deal, but I would definitely think twice before you get into those. But those are the two ways you would pay a location. either a monthly stable rent or percent of your sales. And then you do have to factor in your maintenance and restocking costs. So a broken machine, these repairs can be anywhere to $100 to $500, which depends on the issue, especially if you're in a cold snack machine. That can also have additional costs in something that's a little bit harder for you to repair yourself unless you have that background. You also have to factor in gas and travel costs if you're refilling multiple locations. You have to figure out that club cost if you're going to get your snacks from Costco or Sam's Club, have that cost in there, and just those cost of goods refreshing. So if we were to take this all together, your total startup costs, I would say you want to expect to spend anywhere between $3,000 bare minimum up to $10,000 if you're going crazy for multiple machines or high-end models. So this isn't a no cost, no start side hustle. It does require upfront investment. And if you don't get your location right, you could really burn cash. And that brings me to a very important point. Most people start out with getting their machine and thinking of the location second. I suggest you reverse it. Do all your work finding a location and then get the machine after. There is a lot of risk for you buying a machine for $3,000 and then it's sitting in your garage and you not finding a location for months. A location can be much harder than you think. And there may be a chance that you find a location that already has a machine and you can take over the owner's location or even buy that machine off the owner. Now, typically a vending machine owner would only sell their location if it's a bad location, but sometimes they'll sell it because it's off their route. Like it's way too far from their house. All their other vending machines are over here on this side of the city. And this one, although it makes $1,000 a month, it's too hard for them to get to, or it's a pain in the butt to kind of get through, and you're closer to it. So there's these rare cases where you can take over a location from an owner by buying it. So instead of paying the $2,500 to go get a used machine and inventory it, you can just pay that owner a certain fee. And sometimes you can even put that on financing. Say, hey, I'll pay you $500 a month until I'm paid off on the certain amount. So there are some creative things you can do when it comes to it. But point overall is focus on getting your location before you start getting your machine. And when it comes to a location, it really does make or break your vending machine business. So here are some of the best spots you should look at when it comes to a vending machine business. Now, always gyms and fitness centers are great, and typically they already have a vending machine in that facility, but you can always check with the person or the manager that runs that place and ask how it's going, see if there's any opportunity, if they want to add an extra that has more of towels or this type of snack. You can also go into these smaller gyms like CrossFit gyms. There may be a chance they don't have vending machines yet, and you can talk them into it. And especially if it can be added income for them, like $100 a month rent that you'll pay them. So there's those. Schools and colleges, those are typically contracted out. They do have high foot traffic, but you also need to check state laws. A lot of state laws regulate them. So it really depends on your state, but schools and colleges are ones that I think a lot of people gravitate towards and don't understand the complications and limits that it can be. But in some states, it can be very accessible. So I don't want to completely write that off from you. Another is office buildings or break rooms. These are ideal for coffee machines or snack machines. Most break rooms already have them. Of course, laundromats, you always see vending machines in laundromats. So again, you're going to have a hard time. I wouldn't prioritize you going to laundromat unless you're trying to do a takeover, but the chances of you finding a laundromat with no vending machine is pretty slim. That's same with a car wash. Car wash is also a great place to sometimes have vending machines, but the car wash business usually is running their own out of it. So you're not going to have an opportunity there. And hotels and motels are ones that you can check on. Again, you may find the vending machine already operating there. Maybe it's a soda machine, but there's no snack machine. But you should also check, has there been a snack machine here before? Yes, it got ransacked all the time. Okay, I don't want to do it. But these are your typical locations. Now, there are some unorthodox locations that some people talk about. One of them is Airbnbs. So you go onto Airbnb and message some of the super hosts and say, hey, would you consider adding a small vending machine to your property? And some people do take you up on that. Now, a lot of those are your standard places you think about a vending machine, but there are some creative places people talk about. One of them is auto repair shops. Now, a lot of times you may find these, but in some cases you may not, and you may have an open owner that's interested in doing this, especially where their customers have to wait for a while. Offering a new type of vending machine because it might be dated there could be something interesting, as they are trying to keep that customer happy. And so having a new updated machine that has a little bit more variety of snacks could be interesting to them. So that is one creative place, air quotes, that you could do. Dog parks, if it's not run by a city, but it's privately held, could also be something. And you could put dog treats, dog toys, extra leashes, poop bags in them. There are people that are showing that that's been a really great way to approach the vending machine business, is going to dog parts and dog groomers. I think it's easier said than done. When I look at my area, most dog parts are run by the city and they are not open to having a vending machine there. And it's not a safe place to have vending machines at night. There definitely seem to be a place that can get raided. But other people have shown me in other states where it's super cold and stuff, it gets gated at night, that this can be a viable option for them. So, really depends on your state. And then sometimes it takes getting a little creative with what you put in the vending machine and offering that to owners. So niche themed vending machines in tourist areas are things that I've seen coaches or gurus pitch. So you think like K-Beauty vending machine in Koreatown, or an anime vending machine near a convention center, or travel essentials near an airport, or where people may travel a lot. Sometimes it just takes creative thinking. But whenever you see a guru that's saying, and I'm not going to pitch a car wash or anything, it's these types of niche areas that they're going to propose. Now, it doesn't mean they're super easy. They may even be harder to find, but they are places you might not have a vending machine already exist, and that it's really just up to you and your sales pitch to that owner. Overall, what you have to think about when it comes to locations is vending machines really produce in places where people are stuck or have to make an impulse buy. Now, let's go through some common mistakes people make when it comes to starting a vending machine business and how to avoid them. So before you go all in on vending machine, the most common mistakes people make is thinking it's completely passive. You will need to restock these machines sometimes twice a week. Some people get away with once a week. If you're doing it once a month, that's probably not a high producing vending machine anyway, and you're not going to be happy with the income you're getting. But you also have to collect payments, which sometimes can be cash. There are fees associated with those payments too if you're using a credit card. And remember, you're going to have to fix the broken machine. And the longer that thing is broken, the less it's producing. So you're going to be anxious to get it up and running so you can start producing money again. Another mistake people make is not tracking their inventory. If you don't know what's selling, you'll end up stocking things that don't move. You really want to assess what your machines are selling and what they aren't, and make sure you're buying or prioritizing the things that are popular and finding ways to expand that offering. So let's say candy bars just don't sell out of this thing, but everyone's buying like granola and healthy things. You need to get honed into those types of snacks and ditch all the junky stuff, because that's what your clientele is telling you. So you really want to make sure you're tracking your inventory and paying attention to these nuances. There are a lot of people that start out the business that don't really understand that that's what they need to do in order to optimize. Now, the biggest thing is thinking that you can put a vending machine anywhere and it's going to work. Picking a bad location is a number one reason vending machine businesses fail. You can even lose money with a bad location. No one walks into your machine, buy your machine. It could be just something where if it was only 2 corners away, it would work out. But because it's all buried in a corner, because it's the only place you found power, and people just don't know it exists there, that's how a vending machine can really get stuck and really become a pain in the butt for you. And one last mistake people make, and I've already hinted at it, is ignoring payment methods. Not realizing that most people don't carry cash. You are going to need to have a credit card kind of reader, and then factoring in the fees for a credit card reader because that doesn't come free. Typically, there is a payment processing fee. So making sure you're doing your due diligence in your business plan and factoring that in is super important. Sometimes people set their prices not factoring that in and go negative or break even when they were really trying to pull a profit. All right. And now what a lot of people wonder is how much can you really make? A lot of these gurus always quote like $1,000 a machine. That is typically gross revenue, not net, not profit in their pocket. That's how much money the vending machine makes before you take out the cost of goods, your cost of gas, everything else, your rent. And that is very misleading. So what is the actual money you'll be making with a vending machine? Well, in low traffic locations, let's say you get 10 to 15 sales per day at $1.50 each, you're going to be making gross revenue $450 to $650 per month. And then after restocking and location fees, you'll probably profit around $200 to $300 a month. So the reality is most vending machine owners make net take home in their pocket before taxes $300 to maybe $1,000 a machine. But that's only if the location is right. It can vary, but this is a good range to kind of guesstimate. So is a vending machine a good side hustle? I would say it's great if you have capital, patience, and can really scout these locations. It's not a great side hustle if you're expecting it to be passive, if you're looking for no effort, or you want to hire somebody to do it, because that person's hourly wage will eat into your profits and you will be eking out pennies unless you get into scale of multiple machines running at once. I would say if you are interested in a vending machine business, you can have an option of either starting from scratch, which I just walked you through today, but you can also go on to something like LoopNet or find a business broker who can tell you if there's a local vending machine person that is selling their business. Now, typically they are selling multiple machines because they've been doing it for years, and sometimes they won't let you just take one or two, but they do have to disclose how much money they're making per machine. They don't usually show you the location because they don't want you to go poach it, but there is a lot to learn if you find somebody willing to sell or is trying to sell their vending machine business. And some will sell one or two locations out of their business when they're trying to get out of the thing altogether because they're retiring or moving out of state, etc. So yes, there is two options. You start from scratch or you take over a whole vending machine business from somebody. My suggestion is if you are interested in this, start small and test the waters before you go all in, and also really focus on this location thing before you focus on how to run or operate or fix a machine. Those things you can learn once you get the machine in. You really want to get this location right before you buy and really invest in the machine. So that'll do it for today's episode. Please let me know if you like this new format, this new approach. I really would love your feedback. Just put it in the comments. If you don't know it, even Spotify has a comment section now. So if you don't know that, hit it right down and below. And please give me a 5-star review or the thumbs up, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Again, it really does help. I have no sponsors for the podcast currently. So if you are interested in sponsoring, please do that. And before we go, let me talk about next week's episode, which I'll be going into the digital product side hustle, which is often pitched as a low cost, high margin opportunity that's all over social media. But is it really what people say? You'll find out that next week. So make sure you do all that stuff. You subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Until then, on to the next one, guys. Peace.